Hello, today we are executives of a top oil corporation in the game Peak Oil Profiteer. Now we are sent to this war-torn nation to sell oil and make loads of cash before corruption brings everything tumbling down. In addition, there's networking, blackmailing, bribing, drilling and selling weapons. Now this one's medium complexity, plays 1 to 5, takes about 30 to 60 minutes, and we have the designers and publishers there as well. And these guys also brought us Peak Oil, with this game being set in the same universe as a standalone game. Let's take a closer look. So, as executives, we're heading to this war-torn nation to make the most profits. What have we got then? We've got the map here. We've got all these different regions where you can place these tokens, and you have the government in brown, the National Liberation Front in blue, and the guerrilla faction in red. And this kind of marketplace, as these tokens come out, the prices fluctuate. As tokens come into other regions, there's battles, and it's 1 for 1, and they go back to the market to then manipulate the prices. You've got these rigs here that are going to come out as you buy the drilling rights and sell this oil down these pipelines to the free ports in play. Now this is one side of the board with one map. You can flip it over and there is another map as well. So how is your going to work? The first thing you do is reveal one of these contingency cards. You place it on top here. Sometimes it's a consultant and you may be able to attain that and keep it and use the benefits from round to round. Sometimes it's an event, and you can see here you're going to be increasing the corruption by 1, and then it always has something slightly different there, and you leave this on top. And when you do one of the actions, which is contingency, you got 5 actions. When you choose number 5, that player can use this top action, which is new management. There's a host of different things there. So you reveal a contingency card. Done. The next thing you do, each player is going to pick one of their 5 actions, pop it down here simultaneously, and then you start from number 1 up to 5, and when your number appears you reveal it. So in this case, if this player had gone for number 2 and this player yellow went for, let's say, number 2 as well. Has anyone played number 1? No. Anyone played number 2? Hold on, they have both played number 2. So this top card here from top to bottom will be the tiebreaker. So green is furthest to the top. They're actually going first, then yellows. And if you have a higher player count, you can see how important the colours are there. So green is up. What are they doing? Well, I won't start with 2s. I'll start with number 1, which is networking. Now, networking is all about attaining a blackmail card. And you want these. I've got a whole deck of these out of camera view. And these blackmail cards you can use on future rounds to try and attain leaders, which you can see on the side. These leaders are uncontrolled, and sometimes your opponents have leaders which are controlled, so you can try and attain those. And I'll give you a demonstration of that in a minute. You also, with the network action, you get to bribe a leader. So if you want to bribe one of these factions here, uncontrolled, you look at the particular faction. So let's say we want to go for this politician here. You look at the furthest right of that matching colour, you come down and you can see this little X symbol which correlates to your card. You're going to pay a cost of 3 million, and you pay that to the bank if it's uncontrolled. And if your opponent has it and you're really after this military leader, you're going to pay 3 million to the bank and 3 million to that player as well, and you can pinch that token. Now, why do you want certain tokens? Well, there's 3 types. Let's just take the government here. You have got military leaders with these hats, and these let you pinch 10 million from an opponent if they try and sell oil at your port. So if someone's selling oil here, you're getting 10 million. You've got politicians with the glasses. Now, if you have one of these, you can claim the drilling rights on one of these rigs. So let's say the brown faction has this particular rig. You can just put one of your rigs there and attain the drilling rights at no cost. Whereas if you don't have a politician, you do need a leader of a certain type. So let's say you've got the military leader. Instead, you're going to go to the brown faction, work your way down, and you can see the matching symbol means you're paying 8 million to buy those drilling rights. So that is the power of the politician. And finally, you've got the religious leader with this kind of beard, and those are great for pinching one of the other 2 off opponents. Okay, so that is the types of leaders. Where were we? Networking. We've attained a blackmail card. We have bribed leaders. Then option 2 is to sell weapons. This allows you to look at the particular faction. Now you do need a leader. So if the green player here wants to sell, they are selling to the blue faction only. So they look at the blues, they work their way down. Again, you match the symbol up and they're getting 5 million. You then take the furthest right token of that particular faction, which is blues. You place it on the starting location, you roll the dice, and you can see this region has dice pips all the way around it. You match up the numbers, so it's telling us we're going to put this over here. Now, if there's another faction in there, a battle happens and they come back here 1 for 1, and that's your go done. Now, if there is an empty spot, you leave it there, and that's great, because if you want to do number 3, drilling rights, you need a colour of the matching faction. So on a future turn, the green corporation do have a blue leader in that faction, and it's on drilling rights, so they could use this action. They could place one of their derricks, which is already off the board, onto here, and because it's a politician, there's no cost. So that is literally drilling rights. Now, why do you want drilling rights? Because you want to sell oil, and you play number 4. So what you do is you have one of these out, and you've got a faction here, and you've got a faction at one of the ports you want to sell to. Now, in this case, you follow the pipeline down. Now, are you going to go for the brown faction at this port, or are you going to go for the red? Well, my opponent here, let's say it's the Greens who are selling, my opponent has the military leader for the red faction. So we don't want to go there because we're going to have to give them 10 million. So we're going to come down here. Both ports are occupied by factions. Now it's the port faction colour which dictates the price you are going to get. So brown in this case, we look down here, matching symbol means we're going to get 30 million. You then take this rig off and you've got loads of money. Now if we did go for this particular route, we would get 30 million still. Well, no, we look at the reds, yeah, 30 million, but we have to pay 10 million to our opponent because they've got military power here. You could still sell at this port, even though there's no faction there, but you only get this sort of small greyed out number here of 15 million. So you have to have a faction controlling the port and the actual place where the rig is. Doesn't have to be the same, can be different factions to get more money and a lucrative deal for selling oil. So that comes off. And the final action is number 5, which is where you can attain the card at the top here, which could either be the action or it could be one of these consultants. Now, if let's say both of you went for number 5, you look at the tiebreaker, green would get this one first, they'd do the action, and then the yellow player, if they had a number 5 as well, would have a choice to take this consultant. And if it's ever empty, you can see they're going to get $5 instead. Now, before you actually place your action, you have a choice, and it says it on this nice little reference sheet, to use one of your blackmail cards or your religious leaders, which are powerful, because if you've got that religious leader, you can be like, right, I really want to get this military leader here in the same faction, I'll trade that in. Boom, I have this one, which gets me 10 million if someone decides to sell oil at this port. Or you could use one of these blackmail cards you've used, you've attained through networking on a future ad, and you could discard that and literally just take the matching leader. Now, if your opponent had it, you could do the same. You could discard this card and take it, but if they revealed a card that has the same symbol, they can defend that position and keep that there. Now, once the corruption hits 100%, you play out one more round, and then whoever has the most money is the winner. There we go, folks. Enjoy.